Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. So I've been in the last week. I've been in medical quarantine because of an issue I had. Everything turned out fine, but and I don't have COVID-19, so that's good. But I have been really going crazy on eBay buying books. There are worse habits than buying books on eBay. So I thought I would just share the books and magazines, because I've gotten quite a few of those, that I have gotten during this whole COVID-19 lockdown, where I've spent a lot of time on eBay. Now, normally I would go to bookstores at least once a week, and I do miss that a lot. I can't wait to get back into browsing bookstores, but in the meantime, I've been spending a lot of time on eBay buying books. So let's see what I got. So first off, I bought and these were very cheap. This was a lot of these kind of old paperback sci. They're gonna make me sneeze. Sometimes old books are very musty and they've been sitting maybe in someone's basement for too long. These definitely have that quality. Maybe I need to put them out in the sun for a day or something. But these are a bunch of sci-fi paperbacks from like the 60s and 70s. We've got a Moorcock here. I have a few of his books. And I actually went on Goodreads and looked up some of the reviews on these, and there were some. Some of them got really bad reviews, like terrible reviews, but they're fun. What's fun about a book like this is kind of like the Gothic romance. They're just fun, quick reads. I've been in a real science fiction mood, starting with reading Dune. I've been buying a lot of old heavy metal magazines and reading those. So it's kind of like where my head's at. This is going to be a sci-fi summer, I know it. Next, this was sent to me by the author, so thank you, Oliver C. Seneca, for sending me When the Sky Goes Dark. This looks like a nice paperback. This I'm adding to my top of my stack because I'm trying to read what people send me, in a timely manner. So I'm not being that person that, they have to wait around for like a year to get a review from me. So I will read this very soon. So thanks again for sending this. Okay, so next up is a book that I saw a couple good reviews on BookTube, and I really liked Are You Into Horror's review. If you don't know his channel, he's a small horror BookTube channel. I will link his channel below. I really enjoy his reviews. And this book is called 12 Nights at Rotter House by J.W. Ocker. I think that's how it's pronounced. I bought the nice hardback cover of this because I got it through Amazon Prime. It was about the same as the paperback. So this is also going to the top of the stack when I'm finished with some of my sci-fi stuff, because this looks really good. A lot of people have liked it, and it's not too long. It looks like a fast read and a good one. And I need to read more new horror. I want to read more new horror. I don't need to read it, but I'd like to. Okay, so continuing with my Vampire Chronicles, I bought myself a nice copy of The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. Now, I know I was really hard on the Vampire Lestat. I didn't hate it, but I got frustrated with that book. Now, I do own a paperback copy of this, but I thought I would work on my entire set of the Vampire Chronicles. So this book I do plan to read, and at sometime soon, whenever, I'll get around to reading these eventually. I bought this book because I wanted to have a nice copy of this. My husband and I have been watching movies every night, and then we were watching some old science fiction classics, including The Illustrated Man. It's a great movie, and I had never read the book. When I was in high school, read a lot of Ray Bradbury, but I'd never read this book. So I bought myself a nice copy of it, and it's short. It's a nice hardback copy. This is going into my sci-fi summer reading list because I'm just on a real sci-fi kick and enjoying the heck out of it. Starting with Dune, I figure I start with a classic, read different types of sci-fi throughout the summer. So if you have any suggestions for good sci-fi, maybe some new stuff, put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you because I don't read enough sci-fi. So the next book I got on eBay is Boy's Life by Robert R. McCammon. I've heard so many good things about this book. I haven't read Swan Song yet, but what I have read of his, The Five, I finished that a few months ago. I really enjoyed his writing style, and everyone's saying, gotta read this one. So I bought it. And then for my last two hardbacks that I got on eBay. To round out my Stephen King collection, I got a nice copy of Misery, nice hardback. I love his author photos from this period. It's really crazy. Misery is one of my favorite Stephen King books. So when I do read this one again, it will be a reread. I think I read it like 3 or maybe even 4 times. There was like a summer where I was just reading Misery and watching the movie. I don't know, I was kind of got a little obsessed with it. And then also a hardback of Stephen King's It. This book probably weighs 5 pounds. I like the author photo because he's playing a guitar. I know he was in a band or something, but I read this many years ago. So I've got 2 more Stephen King. Whoa. It's like almost broke my wrist. Okay, so then I bought a bunch of magazines and comics. As far as comics and magazines, I do collect a few. And one is something I loved when I was a teenager, and that's heavy metal. This is a nice, almost fine condition. I don't want to mess it up. I don't collect that way though. I mean, I do read them, so I don't just put them in like a plastic sleeve. This is May 1979, which is the time when I was reading them, like late 70s, early 80s. And this one has an illustrated alien. Reading them now, I'm like, ooh, they were racy, you know? That was like kind of a naughty thing to do, is like read heavy metal, I guess. We used to have this great bookstore and magazines shop in the town near where I grew up, and we would go there every week. And every week my dad would take us to the library. He would drop us off at the library and he would go to Kelly's Bar. And while he was watching the game or whatever, we would be at the library, and then we would go to this place that was called Kenny's News Agency. My dad would pick up the papers and the different magazines and books. My father was a huge reader. In fact, he's who got me into this next magazine that I collected now. I went a little nuts and bought the entire year of 1979. 1979 is like a really important year for me. I don't know why, just like cosmically, I feel like it was the kind of the last gasp of the 70s, which of course it was. Things really changed after 1979, and it's just kind of one of my favorite years. And my father got these magazines, and I loved reading them when I was a kid, and that's Omni. It's a science fiction kind of tech magazine, and Bob Gucciani, who was the editor of Penthouse, not Playboy, Penthouse, produced these with his co-editor, I forget her name, and they have incredible photographs of like UFOs. It's a really high, I don't know, I almost said high class. I don't know if I would call it high class, but it's high production values, glossy magazine. We've got this like embryonic star child going here. Great photographs, great artwork. Almost every one of them has a painting in it by Giger. So 1979, that's the year that Alien came out. So that's like a year that I really love, the artwork of that year. Alien was like, for me, and still is, just like a pinnacle of all of that. And Omni magazines really kind of capture that feeling for me. It's also fun to look at the ads. There are really cool photographs, paintings, artwork, great short stories. And it's also fun to look at the technology at the time. Like here's a Casio watch called the Time Machine. I'll just sit in my library some afternoons and just read a short story from one of these Omni magazines. And sometimes they're a little dated or whatever, but a lot of times they're really good. There was like a really kind of like a high bar, I think, for this magazine, for the artwork and the fiction and the journalism. I love Omni. I don't know if there are any other fans out there. Let me know. So that is my true confessions of my quarantine haul. So I'm going to spend some time putting these books back on my shelf, except for the ones I'm going to read right away. And I will have reviews hopefully for those soon. So let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these, if you like heavy metal or Omni. I'd love to hear from you. So in the meantime, stay safe, and I will see you next time in my haunted library. Bye.